Hello grade 5 students and welcome to this English video lesson. Today we are going to study Module 1 Questionnaire Part 2. Let's read our objectives. 1. Ask for personal details using what, where, who, and how often. 2. Ask and answer a questionnaire with a classmate. 3. Make your own questionnaire. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now open your books to page 7 and have a look at these 9 questions. Focus with me here, my friends, on the question words at the beginning of each question: what, where, who, and how often. Did you know, my friends, that these are called question words? And they're used to start a question, and each one of them has its meaning and use. Well, let's study these question words one by one. The first question word is what. This question word is used to ask for things, like a name, a date of birth, or a telephone number. Examples: what's your full name? To ask about a person's name, like Ali Abdullah. What's your telephone number? To ask about a telephone number, like this one. What's your date of birth? To ask about someone's date of birth, like 25 May 2005. So the question word what is used to start a question that asks about things, and you will find more examples in the questionnaire, page 7, like what's your email address, what school do you go to, and what year are you in. And you also need to know that what's stands for what is. Okay, my friends? Let's move on to the second question word. Where. This question word is used to ask about locations, places, or addresses. Okay? Like when you ask, where do you live? I live at 22 Nasr Street, Assad. Where do you spend the weekend? At Aspire Park. And many more questions that could start with where to ask about places and locations, like where do you go shopping, for example, and where do you spend your summer vacations. Okay? So where, my friends, asks about the location or the place where I do an activity. Who. This question word asks about people. Examples: who is your favorite teacher? Mr. Muhammad. Who's your favorite player? Lionel Messi. Who helps you with homework? My father. All these questions ask about certain persons, and all the answers, as you see, are certain people. You also need to know that who is can be written like this and pronounced whose. How often? Well, this is slightly different. This question word, my friends, means how many times. How often means how many times. Like when I ask, how often do you have an art class? This means how many times do you have an art class? And the answer could be like this: I have an art class once a week, which means one time a week. Or I have an art class twice a week, which means 2 times a week. Or I have an art class 3 times a week. And the answer should not necessarily be once or twice a week. It could be once a month, or twice a month, or even a year. Okay? It depends on the question and the activity you're being asked about. This is all about how often, which means how many times. Do you understand, my friends? Okay, let's check that. Look at this exercise. Look at the pictures and fill in the blanks with what, where, who, how often. Here we have 4 blanks and we need to fill them with the question words above here. I'll give you 2 minutes to get it done. Pause the video and go ahead. Okay, check your answers with me. Blank is your best friend. Here he asks about best friend, which is a person. So we use correct, who. Blank, do you go shopping? And then he answered at Gulf Mall, which is a place. So we use excellent, where. Blank, do you watch TV? And the answer is twice a week. It's easy and clear. It asks about the number of times. So we use how often. Blank is your favorite book. He asks here about a book, which is a thing. So we use correct, what. Good job, my friends. Now we're done with the question words and how to use what, how to use where, who, and how often. Let's move on to another activity. Read the following answers and make questions. So here you have 4 answers and you need to make questions using the 4 question words we have just studied. What, where, who, and how often. Okay, and you also have highlighted words here to help you pick the correct question word. Okay, now pause the video and make your questions. Have you finished? Okay, check your answers with me. The first one says, I live in Doha. Doha is a place. And which question word asks about places, my friends? Excellent. Where? So the question should be, where do you live? Good job. The second one, my favorite subject is English. We need to ask here about the subject English, which is a thing. And we use what to ask about things, right? So the question should be, what is your favorite subject? Question number 3. I study English 5 times a week. Here we need to ask about the number of times we study English. So the correct question word here is correct, how often. And the question should be, how often do you study English? Number 4. Miss Mona teaches me maths. We need to ask about Miss Mona, which is a person. Which question word, my friends, asks about people? Exactly, who? So the question here should be, who teaches you maths? Now, my friends, you have achieved the first objective. You're now able to ask for personal details using what, where, who, and how often. Time to move on to the second objective. Ask and answer a questionnaire with a classmate. Get to know your classmates. You know, guys, this is a new year, and some of your classmates are new to you. So, what questions should you ask to learn about your new classmates? Okay, let me give you some examples. You could ask questions like, what's your full name? What's your date of birth? Where do you live? What school do you go to? What year are you in? What's your favorite subject? And how often do you have it? These are such questions and many more you could use to get to know your new classmates. And don't forget to use the question words correctly. What, where, who, and how often. Okay, friends, let's speak. Open your books, page 7, activity 3. Look at these two girls. They are meeting each other for the first time. Listen with me to the conversation.
What's your full name? Lisa White. What's your full name? Kate Smith.
So they're asking each other about their names, which is the first question here in this list, right? Why don't we make similar conversations, my friends, using these questions in this list? Like you're gonna go to your brother or sister and ask this question. What's your date of birth? And let him or her tell you the date of birth, okay? And then you switch turns, like he or she asks and you answer, and so on with all these questions. Clear, my friends? And it would be great if you record the conversations and let your teacher listen to them. Now, after we make these nice and interesting conversations with these 6 questions, you need to make your own questionnaire. You can ask your classmates many more questions, my friends, using these 4 question words. What, where, who, and how often. And I've collected here some prompts that may help you make your questionnaire. For example, all these go with what? So you can say, for example, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite sport? And so on. And these 3 go with where. You could say, where do you spend your summer vacation? Or where do you spend the weekend? And so on. And these 4 go with who. Like, who is your favorite player? Who is your favorite actor? And so on. Also, how often can be used with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prompts. Like, how often do you watch TV? How often do you practice sports? Now you know how to make questions and already have many ideas of questions about personal details. Why don't you start making your own questionnaire? Go ahead and open your workbook, page 5, activity 3. Write your own questionnaire, then ask and answer about your partner. All you need to do here is write your own 6 questions. And I've already given you ideas to ask about here, okay, in the last slide. So your final questionnaire should be similar to this one. What's your full name? What's your telephone number? What school do you go to? Where do you live? What is your favorite subject? And what is your date of birth? 6 questions that ask about personal information. So now grab a pen and make your own questionnaire, my friends. Then show it to your teacher to check it. Okay, let me remind you of what we have done today. We have achieved 3 objectives. Ask for personal details using what, where, who, and how often. Ask and answer a questionnaire with a classmate. Make your own questionnaire. I hope you now know how to ask, answer, and make your own questionnaire, my friends. See you next lesson. Bye.